3 years ago, I started building a game from nothing. This is the Game is about returning to an abandoned game project only to find that the NPCs have kept working on the game while you were gone. I've always been drawn to life sim games, friendship games where you get to build relationships with villagers and create your own little world. But as I got older, I started to feel like those games were almost too cozy, and that caused them to lose some of their meaning. I often get asked where I came up with the concept for the game, and the concept came to me during my commute, just sitting in traffic, chronically overthinking, existential dread just slowly creeping in, thinking, why am I doing this? Is this really all there is? Working just to survive and doing things that don't feel meaningful? And that's when I realized that that's the game. I wanted to create a world of strange little creatures just trying to survive and figure out their purpose, living in a world that was actively fighting against them, trying to, work together and create something better even when everything else feels pointless. I wanted to be able to tell stories about what it means to be sentient, have consciousness in a reality that wasn't necessarily designed for that to be the case, and to keep building even when you're not sure why or if anyone's coming back or if any of it even matters. A lot of cozy games present an idealized version of life, and I think that's the entire appeal of them, escapism into a world where everything is, gentle and safe. I love those games, but I wanted to make something different, something that kind of questioned that impulse that, things aren't always good, people aren't always right. So I wanted to make a game that had more urgent gameplay where what you did actually mattered, not just collecting, fruit and decorating your house, but making choices that had real weight. You can do things that aren't heroic and the game won't punish you for this, but it will remember. I don't want it to be all dark either. I do want to balance the game with humor, heart, and fun little interactions between you and the villagers. While the game might deal with existential dread, I think it is important to have a message of hope and friendship and making the player know that they matter to the NPCs, that they're not alone. Even if everything is falling apart, there's still, moments of connection, moments of lightness that makes you understand that everything you were doing is still worth it. The first year of working on the game was a lot about learning. I was experimenting, figuring out how to actually make a game. I built a lot of the basic controls, the inventory system, the crafting mechanics. I experimented with the art styles and started constructing the map. Most of the early work and early code has been refactored or replaced by now, but it did establish the foundation for everything to be built upon. A little before the first year ended was when I started to bring complexity into the game. I realized just following along with tutorials was only going to get me so far, and I needed to design a better system to handle resource spawning, NPC movement, and the world state. And this is when I started building up the grid system. The core of nearly everything is a 2D grid, initially created for the NPC pathfinding and a star navigation. This forms the foundation for a lot of systems, like the NPCs being able to collect resources, the player being able to collect resources. It's basically just a bunch of data that systems in the game can reference if they need to. This is when I also started to commit to the AI system in the game. I had tried a scheduling system at first for the NPCs, but it felt really mechanical and predictable, and in order to make the concept of the game feel really alive, I wanted the NPCs to feel more autonomous. After all, the entire appeal is that the villagers have been working on the game while you were gone, and I wanted to make it more believable. So I implemented the GOAP system, which stands for Goal-Oriented Action Planning. The NPCs receive a goal, then use available actions that I give to them to build a path towards achieving that goal. They're basically able to solve this problem in real time, making decisions based on their current state and the world state around them. If something in the game changes, either via the player or another NPC, they can react to it, which makes it really interesting, honestly, to just watch them run around the map and see what happens. The hardest challenge for the AI system was figuring out the goal selection. Originally, I started with Maslow's hierarchy of needs as a framework, which theoretically did work, but after testing it, it just felt a little bit off, and I ended up adjusting the system. I actually have an entire other YouTube video where I explain what I originally had, but I kept iterating on that, and now the goals are prioritized more so in layers, so immediate needs like hunger and safety are still first, but the personal goals are a little bit different. So things like food storage and then long-term planning are now goals. When the NPCs feel secure in their own needs, they then shift their focus more so to helping others and building up the community. All of this is arbitrary, of course. I'm making decisions about what matters and what drives their behavior. I'm basically just trying to translate human nature into code. Stats decay like the players, they have memories that influence the decisions that they make in the game, they have traits that will modify that behavior, so not all the NPCs will act the same way. They also have moods, which could impact the actions that they take to reach to a goal. And the NPC system was honestly the reason that this game is taking so long. This was by far the most complicated and complex thing that I put into the game. I wanted them to act and react in ways that felt authentic to how a player would be able to do it. But at the same time, they're not that smart, and a lot of the player's goal will be just helping them survive. The second and third years of just working on the game kind of blurred together. This is when a lot of the features came online that I really wanted in the game. So I have things like fishing, farming, crafting. This is when I figured out how the character stats were really gonna work, and the game started to feel like an actual game. I had to redesign my main character sprite because I really wanted character customization, and it just wasn't possible with the old character without looking cursed. Some people were really attached to the original design, and don't worry, the old player character will return in the game with vengeance. At this point, I have finished most of the main map and all of the buildings on it. You will be able to upgrade a lot of the buildings, which resulted in me actually downgrading some of the original ones that I made because they were just like too nice. So instead, these will be things that will get unlocked a little bit later game. I've also designed all of the main NPCs, both the ones that navigate around the map using the AI GOP system, and then a few that are more just static merchant NPCs that will still have a lot of personality, they just can't move quite as much. The last major features came together pretty recently, so animals, I added those into the game because I just wanted to. And it kind of creates a little interesting dynamic though, because some of the NPCs are also animals. I was also refining the merchants and the store buying selling mechanics. I added in this shady little guy who sells you the animals. Relationships, I also built out that system pretty recently, including romance, only between the NPCs, not you and the NPCs, that would be weird. But you can facilitate little date spots for them. I also expanded the combat system. There's pretty light combat in the game, but I did add in new enemies and defense options, including prompting your little slime pets to man these turrets and kill their own kind. Also, there's a cooking system now. I wanted the NPCs to feel really alive and have like drama between one another. So I recently implemented passive conversations. These are just random conversations that actually pull from a big list that can trigger when NPCs pass by one another. I spent a lot of time just working on tools that let me add content into the game efficiently, because that's what comes next, filling the world with the story. I also just finished the corruption system very recently, like yesterday. I didn't want a traditional day-night cycle. I wanted something that felt unique to me. Events will happen throughout the day that are designed to kill the player and the NPCs. When enough deaths happen, that's actually when the day resets. Don't worry, your progress and items won't reset, but at the end of the day, the NPCs will give a little report. One explaining all the relationship changes, just because, I don't know, it's fun and interesting. And the other one detailing who died and how. So this means that death is just a part of the game. You and the NPCs can die multiple times per day, but don't worry, death itself will scoop you up and bring you back to life in the graveyard. So the gameplay revolves around reacting to chaos, mitigating the damage, protecting the NPCs, because the primary motivation isn't really survival, it's making the world better for the villagers who live in it. There's no game over, there's no concrete failure, but the game will make you feel the weight of the choices that you make each day. And on a given day, you might need to choose which NPCs you help survive by giving them food or equipment. And since you only have so much time or resources to dedicate to this, you have to make decisions about who lives and dies. And now you also may be wondering, I thought of the option to kill the NPCs in the game and it won't mean that I'm punished for it. And if you weren't wondering that, that's probably for the best. But don't worry, you little psycho, this will still be a viable option. Sometimes NPCs go rogue and start killing others, and maybe you gotta take them out. They also drop items when you kill them, allowing you to loot their inventory. Maybe the town is running out of food and you need to sacrifice someone to save the others. There's a lot happening in the game, there's a lot of features. I am done adding features though. It might seem a little overwhelming, but don't worry. Every NPC will teach you something. Each character is associated with a mechanic or system, and they are going to be the ones that will kind of guide you through the complexity and tell you just how to play the game. The goal is to make it so you don't necessarily have to have a wiki that you find for the game to figure out what you need to do. Instead, you'll be able to go to an NPC and talk to them, and they'll be able to guide you in the right direction. After all, they're the ones that have been surviving in here without you. I want the game to be genuinely ready before I release any sort of demo, which I am aiming to do in the winter of this year, but I have said that many times and failed, so don't hold me to that at all. This isn't my job, this is just a hobby project, and I don't really foresee any avenues of being able to work on it full-time before the release. I don't plan to use early access for this game either. I'm just gonna release the game when I feel that it's ready. Although I have some very wild, ambitious ideas for late game features I would love to add, I really want to implement things like town ordinances, building out the mines a little bit more. I have this event planned for hitting the end of 30 days that involves this giant worm. And I'm still gonna release the game when I just feel like it has enough content. And now you also might be wondering, why did you spend 3 years just making a game? How are you still motivated to keep doing this? I could have done literally anything else with those hundreds of hours, but I wanted to make a game because the idea of making a game was actually what got me interested in learning to code in the first place. Being able to create something, an entire world, basically from rocks in the ground is basically magic if you don't think too hard about it. Games are just another medium for art, and I think art is kind of how we can connect with each other. And I've never been very good at traditional art, but I think that video games are kind of just the medium that I am best able to express myself and my ideas and the stories that I would wish to share. So I keep working on this game because it has meaning to me, and that's enough motivation in itself. I hope this game, when it comes out, just finds the people that it's meant for, those who will understand what I'm trying to say through these strange little creatures in their chaotic world, and I just hope that I can connect with them. That possibility is enough to motivate me. I will see you in the next devlog.